Hello, my name is Mrs. Yonda, and I will be conducting your junior conference. All the counselors at Seven Lakes are very sorry that we're unable to do this in person, but if you will follow along with me here, bear with me because I'm probably going to make some mistakes and talking and stuff, but this is just going to be an informal, very informative meeting here that we're going to have. Hopefully, I am talking to my juniors, to all of our juniors and their parents, but it's very imperative that the juniors sit down and watch this meeting. If you would please go to Seven Lakes High School page. So I don't know if you can see my computer here, but if you go to the Seven Lakes High School page, go over here to campus, pull down to counselor, and once you click on counselor, you're going to go over here to the right, and you're going to go to junior conference video handouts. Please either pause right now and print these up or split screen or whatever, but please have these handouts handy while I'm talking. I will be referencing them a lot, and I need you to follow along with that. Also, please have a paper and pencil handy so that you can take notes. At the end of this video, I will have all of the counselors' emails so that you can email any questions that you have. If you have a question about something I said on the video, you can email me directly. And like I said, my name is Mrs. Yonda. I am counselor for students 10th through 12th, last name Schmidt through Zhao. So if that is you, then I'm your counselor. If we've already had your junior meeting, it's no big deal. You can watch this again to get a refresher. All right, so first off, let me start by saying this video will be divided up into separate sections so that if something doesn't pertain to you, for example, the NCAA or junior college or different things like that, you can fast forward through the video. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. The first paper that you will see is called the Junior Conference Information. This is just a little handout that the counselors use to track what you have done or what you are doing. But since we don't have you to go over this in person, I would like for you to fill this out or to write it down on your notes or whatever. But the first thing we would do when you came into your meeting would be we would check your GPA. So if you write down your GPA, and I believe that you are able to see your class rank. If not, here is the list of the 2021 class rank. So you can see where you fall. If you are in the top 10%, just note that when we get back to school that you will have a form to fill out. You can also find it on our website, but that's just for informational purposes. But it tells you what to expect if you are in the top 10% in the state of Texas, the automatic acceptance and all of that. Okay, so then the next thing we would do is, what are the courses that you still need to graduate? If you could sit down right now and figure out that you need 4 Englishes, you need 4 maths, you need 4 sciences, you need 3 social studies, but most of you have taken 4. If you have taken 4 social studies, so if you took world geography and world history becomes an elective. You need a semester of health, you need a semester of speech, you need a full year of PE, you need a full year of a fine art, and the fine art has to be the exact same thing both semesters. You cannot take a semester of art and a semester of choir and have it count. You have to have 2 years of a foreign language, and you have to have 6 electives. Once you have taken a fine art or a PE or athletics, then the rest of those years become electives. So if you were in choir first year, then choir becomes a fine art. Then the rest of the years that you're in choir, it becomes an elective. Same for athletics. Let's say you played basketball your freshman year. The rest of the years that you were in athletics become electives, okay? One thing I do want you to note is because physics is not required in the state of Texas to graduate, if you decide not to take physics, please, please, please contact any university that you are thinking of applying to make sure that they do not require physics. Some colleges may still require physics, okay? All right, so moving on, then the next question we would ask is, what do you plan on majoring in? If you don't know what you want to major in, don't worry. You can use this time after the video is done to go to Naviance and look at all the college and career readiness tests that they have. Now, if you don't remember how to get to Naviance, just remember that you go to your Katie Cloud. So we're going to go to our Katie Cloud. That looks like this with the leaf background. You're going to look for the Naviance tile. If you don't see it, go to the search button and type in NAV, and then it'll pop up. Click on that, and then you use your regular username and password that you use for everything for Katy ISD. But this is a great website. This is where you can look at thousands of videos for different careers that you may be interested in. You can search for colleges based on whether you want to stay in Texas or go out of the United States or even out of the country. You can search for colleges. Just remember back to your sophomore year when I took you into the computer labs during your English classes. That's the website I'm referring to. All right, so going back, after we ask you what your major is, then we would ask you to give us several universities that you're interested in. And, 5 is a good number. Some of you may have 10 or 20. Just remember that every one that you apply to, you have to pay an application fee, and that's going to be anywhere between $45 to $95. Okay? Check with the colleges that you're interested in to see if you fit into the parameters that they require for their freshmen. And just note that even though you fit into their parameters, if you are applying to be an engineer or to be in the business school or to do anything like biomedical or anything like that, those are very competitive and they may have a more stringent requirement that they need. Please, please, please don't hesitate to call the admissions office at the schools that you're thinking of applying to. That's what they're there for. And anything that I say on this video, please don't take my word for it. It could be wrong. Call the admissions office to check. Like I said, call about physics. Call to see if they require anything extra. I'm speaking as a counselor, but I'm also speaking as a parent who went through this process twice already. I have a son who's working on his master's at A&M, and I have a daughter who's at Sam Houston State right now. So the application process is fresh on my mind, but what they require, I may not know. So please check on that on your own, okay? All right, so that is what we would ask for information from you. Then the next thing you would do is go to the next form on our website. Let me get back to that page. The next form on our website, which is Junior Conference Notes, okay? Mine is aqua, but the note that you're gonna print or look at would be, it's just gonna be a white copy. If you are unable to print this, just take notes and title it by everything that I'm talking about, okay? All right, so now we're gonna start the next section. All right, so our next section is Apply Texas. Apply Texas is the application website that you use for any school that you're applying to in the state of Texas. Let's say you're applying to UT Austin, A&M, Sam Houston State, Texas Tech, whatever, any of the public schools. Your private schools like SMU, Abilene Christian, Baylor, Rice, they're going to be on the next website, which is Common App. Actually, some of them may be on both, But if you apply to schools that are on Apply Texas and the next website that we'll talk about, Common App, it would be easier if you did your private schools on Common App. If you're not applying to any schools on Common App, then everything needs to be done on Apply Texas. Otherwise, you would have to do extra essays. But Apply Texas opens up July 1st. So that means you would be able to submit as early as that. But you have to be prepared to do that. So that means you're going to be working in June on your essays and everything. You can go on to Apply Texas now, I believe, and set up an account. So let's say that you're ready to start applying to your schools. What you're going to do is you're going to set up your account on Apply Texas, and then you're going to decide which schools you want to apply to in Texas. Type in the first name of the school, open up that application, fill everything out, everything that it asks for, and then you're going to be able to save it and copy and paste it to each school that you're applying to on Apply Texas. You do not have to retype everything, okay? On Apply Texas, some schools require letters of recommendations, but most Texas schools don't. But I always say it's just icing on the cake. Please go ahead and get at least 2 or 3 letters of recommendations. One of your recommendations can be from your counselor, and the other letters of recommendations can be from teachers who know you well. So it doesn't have to be, actually it wouldn't be senior year teachers because they wouldn't know you. You can go as far back as freshman year if that's a teacher that you kept in contact with and you had a good relationship with, okay? Just please make sure that you ask them. If it's some of the more popular teachers who are asked a lot to write letters of recommendation, like your English teachers or what have you, you may want to ask them, nicely before the end of school this year. If you are unable to do that, ask them at the very, very beginning of next year. That way, they can have an idea of which students they're going to write letters of recommendations for. Now, for me to write you, or for your counselor to write you a letter of recommendation, you're going to need 2 forms. And those are our next 2 forms found on our website under Junior Conference video handouts. That is the counselor request form and the personal data sheet. Okay, so these 2 forms right here, the counselor request form, this is just a page that you would fill out anytime you need us to do anything. It's like a cover page. Anytime you need us to fill anything out, you're going to attach this to it. It just lets us know what you need, when you need it, and so on. What we really, really need, though, is this personal data sheet. This is your brag sheet. It tells us all about you, any extracurriculars you've done, any hardships you've gone through, any awards, volunteer work, after school work that you may have, or weekend work that you do. All of that goes on here. And please, please be very detailed. Don't just say, I volunteered 5 hours at my church. Please let us know what exactly you did when you volunteered, or what you volunteered to do, okay? The more detailed you are on those personal data sheets will be the difference between a letter of recommendation that looks like this and a letter of recommendation that looks like that, okay? So please be very detailed. Also, you need to make a couple of copies of this so that you can give it to other teachers to write you the letter, because they know what you've done in their classroom. They just don't know what you've done outside their classroom, okay? We do ask, however, that you give us at least 21 days, it's right here under counselor request form, at least 21 days advance notice before your deadline. And those 21 days do not include weekends and holidays, okay? And please give your teachers that same courtesy. Now, how do we send these letters of recommendation out? Well, for some schools, you're going to need to bring us an envelope and a stamp with the address of the school on it. For others, you may just need to provide us a link. Once you've submitted all of your Apply Texas schools, excuse me, you will get emails back from those schools. So let's say you applied to UTE, A&M, UT Dallas, wherever. Once you have submitted those applications, you're going to get emails back saying, we've received your application. Please go online to our website and set up an account. And you want to do that because that's how you keep track of all the paperwork that they receive on you. You also find out when it's time to put when it's time to put a deposit down on a dorm, when it's time to send in your shot records, all of that good stuff. But on the UT and A&M website, once you set up your account, and I believe the UT Dallas, Texas Tech is the same way, and there's a few other schools. Once you set up your account, you're going to find a place where you're going to be able to plug in your counselor's email address. And then it'll send us a link where we can upload your letter of recommendation. The UT's is called Third Party Upload. A&M's is a little bit more difficult to find, but just search around on your account once you've created it. If you cannot find it, then for A&M, you would use this form right here. It's called Document ID Sheet. If you can't find where to input our email address for a link, then look for this sheet that you would put in the envelope that you bring us with the address of A&M on it. But please search for the link. It's so much easier for us just to upload it, okay? Now, earlier when I said when you create your account, you may find a place that you could put a deposit down on a dorm. Sometimes it's a good idea if you apply to several schools and their dorm deposit is refundable to go ahead and put a deposit down on a dorm, because sometimes your dorm deposit may be due in October, but you're not going to find out whether you've been accepted or not until March or January or something like that. And if you didn't have a deposit down on your dorm, there may not be any dorms available for you. I always suggest that freshmen live on campus. It is just so much easier. You don't have to worry about your meals. You don't have to worry about paying rent and all of that and finding roommates. You just have to worry about living on campus in your dorm. And if the dorm deposit's refundable, then you'd be able to get it back if you don't attend that university, okay? All right, now, Apply Texas does have essays. So for those essays, you need to go down to the next form under Personal Data Sheet that says Apply Texas Essays. Now, your essays for Apply Texas, there are 3 of them, okay? And let me search through my papers right now. I'm looking for the essays. Here they are. Okay, so Apply Texas Essays, there are 3 of them. Depending on what school you're applying to, it will let you know what essays to write. For example, when my son applied to A&M in Texas, the first 2, Essays A and Essay B, were mandatory, and Essay C was optional. Now, whenever they say something's optional, they don't really mean that. They just want to see if you're going to go the extra mile. That's just like your parents telling you cleaning your room is optional. It's really not optional, okay? So go ahead and do that. Some schools may say pick an essay. Some schools on Apply Texas may not even require essays. It just depends on the school, okay? If you want to have all of your applications done before school starts, I suggest you start practicing or writing your essays in the month of June. Okay, the essays are what holds students back most of the time from hitting the submit button. If you start writing in June, then there is absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be done with your applications before school starts. Now, my son applied to 5 different schools when he was applying. 2 were on Common App, and 3 were on Common App and 2 were on Apply Texas, and he was done before August 7th, and he started August 1st. There's no reason why you can't have these done if you are working on your essays. But for sure, please be done with all of your applications before Thanksgiving break. That is just a good rule of thumb, okay? Also, make sure that you save your essays on a flash drive, just in case your computer crashes. One other thing about Apply Texas. You do have to send in your transcripts. Now, to send in your transcripts for Apply Texas schools, you must go to the registrar's office, which is right next door to the counselor's office, and you are going to get the little half sheet of paper that looks like this. And every year they change colors. So next year it'll probably be a different color, but you get this little form right here. You write the names of the schools that you're applying to on these forms. And here it only allows you 4 schools. Then that means you would just need some extra paper to fill out the other schools if you're applying to more than 4 schools in Texas. And then the registrars will send all of your transcripts electronically to all Apply Texas schools. Okay? Do not do this until school starts next year. You don't have to worry about sending your applications. Your transcripts. Even though you may hit the submit button August 5th, it's okay. You're not going to send in your transcripts until they're ready. And they will not be ready until like the 2nd or 3rd week of school, because all of the summer school grades have to be added in. Okay? So when you submit your stuff through Apply Texas, it will be sitting in a file for you at A&M or Texas or Sam Houston or Stephen F. Austin or wherever you apply to. And then when school starts, probably the 2nd week of school, pop into the registrar's office and ask them if the transcripts have been updated. If they have, then fill this form out, drop it in their box, and they will send off your transcripts. And then the transcripts will go into your file at Sam Houston or Stephen F. or wherever. Same with your letters of rec. You don't have to worry during the summer if you submit all your applications and you don't have your letters of rec yet. That will be taken care of once we get back to school. Okay? All right. Now, that is all I have on Apply Texas. If you have any more questions about Apply Texas schools, please don't hesitate to contact your counselor or me if there was something that I said that you had a question about. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our next section. Okay, our next section of discussion is Common App or Common Application. That is the website that you are going to use for all schools outside the state of Texas. And like I said in the other section for Apply Texas, you would also have some of your private schools in Texas, like Rice, Baylor, TCU, different schools like that. Now, a Common App opens up August 1st. So, like I said earlier, if you start your essays in June and you wait till July 1st for your Texas schools and then August 1st for your Common App schools, there is no reason why you wouldn't be done before school even starts with all of your applications, okay? Now, Common App is a little bit different than Apply Texas. I like to say it's a one-stop shop. What you're gonna do is you're gonna plug in, you're gonna fill in all of your stuff just like you did on Apply Texas, open up your account and stuff, and I believe, again, you can start your account now. You just can't start applying until August 1st. But you're gonna fill in all of your stuff. You're gonna say, I want it sent to this school, this school, this school. Click on one of the schools that you're gonna apply to. And then once you fill everything out, and if that school doesn't have anything extra that they need you to do, you would pay all of your application fees, hit the submit bar, and it goes to all of your schools at once. You don't have to copy and paste to each school like you did in Apply Texas. Common App is also different because you are not responsible for sending in your transcripts. Remember, on Apply Texas, you go to the registrar's office and get this little half sheet of paper and request that your transcripts be sent. But for Common App, you do not need this. For Common App, what you're going to do is you will plug in your counselor's email as your recommender. Now, there's 2 places to plug in your counselor's email. The first place, you're just filling out information and it's gonna ask you your counselor's email address. That is not where you're gonna put us into your account or put you into our account. The way you do that is once you click on a school, any of your schools that you're going to apply to, you're going to see some tabs on the left-hand side, I believe. And one of those tabs is going to say FERPA/recommender, FERPA/recommender. When you click on that, you're going to see the words counselor, teacher, other. This is where you plug in our email address. So you're going to click on the counselor, plug in your email address, and then, plug in our email address. And then once you hit the invite button or submit button or whatever that button is within that FERPA section, we get an invite within about 30 seconds. So it would really be helpful to you if you would send your counselor an email after you do that and say, hey, Miss, if you're sending it to me, hey, Miss Yonda, did you get my Common App invite? And if we say yes, then you did it right. If we say no, then you need to try it again and look for the correct place to plug it in. Okay, so once you plug in our email address and you are put into our account, we take care of your transcript, so you do not have to worry about this. We will also upload your letters of rec to that account as well. Now here's the neat part about Common App. Once we have finished our stuff, once we have uploaded a transcript and we have uploaded your letter of recommendation, our stuff sits in that little account until you submit everything. And once you submit all of your stuff, then our stuff goes with your stuff. So sometimes I'll get an email saying, Miss Yonda, they haven't received my transcript yet. And I'll look into my account and I can see what schools you're applying to. And if you haven't submitted your stuff to that school, then my stuff is just sitting there waiting on you. Also, along with a counselor recommendation, Common App asks for teacher emails as well, so that your teachers can write letters of recommendation. Even if the school you're applying to does not require a teacher recommendation, Common App does. They're going to ask for 2 to 3 teacher emails. Please make sure you ask your teachers before you plug in the email because, like I said, we get that invite within 30 seconds. So you're not going to have time to plug it in the night before and then run and talk to your teacher the next day. You need to give them the courtesy of asking them first. Okay? All right. You will also have essays on Common App. And if you go to the counselor page over here, your right-hand side, your next handout that we are on is the Common App essay prompts. These are the essay prompts. There are 7 of them, and you're going to choose 3. There are no options, nothing's optional or anything. You choose 3. Whichever 3 you choose, those 3 will go to the schools that you're applying to. Okay? Some schools may have an extra essay on their own. And when you are in their application, it will let you know that. For example, my son applied to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame did have an extra essay. Again, that was 5 years ago, so please, you will be able to figure it out on your own once you're in the Common App website. Okay? All right. Now, the Common App essays are anywhere between, I think it says that you need to keep them between 600 and 650 words. So that's about what you need for any of your college essays, okay? All right, that concludes this section on Common App. All right, this section is over College Board and ACT Student. Those are your 2 testing websites. Now, I know that everything is up in the air right now with tests and stuff, but you need to be aware that things may change. They may go back to the way they were, or they may stay as they are now, where some colleges are not requiring testing, some aren't requiring subject tests, who usually require subject tests, different things like that. So it is up to you to research and make sure you know what you need test-wise as far as the schools you're applying to. Okay, so collegeboard.org, that is where you register to take the SAT. Most of you have probably already registered with that because you took the PSAT. But that is where you are going to register to take your test. You don't have to register to take it at a Katy school. For example, I think Morton Ranch offers it during the testing sites, and maybe Katy High School. If you live closer this way to, let's say, Fulshire High School or Foster High School or something like that, if they offer it, then choose the testing site that's closest to you. You don't have to test at a Katie's testing site. All right, so do you take the ACT or should you take the SAT? Usually I tell my students to take both one time, and then whichever one you do better on, take it again. You may do better on the ACT. You may do better on the SAT. It just depends. The ACT does have an extra section, which is the science section. So if you are more sciencely inclined, you may do better on the ACT. Now, you do need to know that some colleges will not accept your test scores if you have not taken the essay. The test that we took on our campus in March, that one didn't include the essay, so some schools may not accept that score. However, again, it is up to you to check with those schools to see if they do. Some schools super score. Super score means they take the best section from each of your tests that you send them, and then they give you a new composite. So let's say you took the test 3 times. You did better on the math the first time, you did better on the reading the second time, but you did better on the writing the 3rd time. So you would send in all 3 of those tests, and they would give you a new composite. Now, A&M and Texas do not super score. Baylor does super score, or at least they super scored the last time I checked. So again, it would be up to you to check and see if they do super score. If a school super scores, then it would be to your benefit to try to take the test more than once, twice, even 3 times. You can take the test as many times as you want, okay? Now, you do have to send your scores directly from the College Board website and the ACT website. You can do that for free when you sign up for the tests the very first time. Like, for example, College Board, when you sign up for a test date, it's gonna say, I think it's 3, you can send it either to 3 or 5 schools for free. So you can type in the names of the schools you want your test scores sent to. Some people don't like to do that because they don't want to send their scores in without knowing what they made. So if that's the case, then just know after you receive your test scores, you have to go back into College Board, click on the test scores you want sent, designate the schools you want it sent to, and then I think it's $10 a school to send it. Again, please check. Those were last year's prices when my daughter applied. So I don't know really what the prices are right now. Also, if you decide that there is a test that you don't want sent, the schools are not going to see those test scores unless you send them to them. So I know that people were upset that we had to take the SAT on our campus because you hadn't prepared, this and that and the other, whatever. If you don't send them the test scores, they're not going to know the scores. So only you can do that, okay? All right. Should you take subject tests? That's usually a question we get as well. That is going to be totally up to you. Some schools may require that you take the subject tests. Again, please check with the schools. For example, when my son applied to Columbia, they required an SAT and an ACT or an SAT with 2 subject tests. So you need to make sure that you know the different requirements for each school. Okay, this section is over junior colleges. Should you start out at a junior college or community college as everyone calls them, or should you start out at a 4-year university? Maybe you just don't have the money right now to start out at a 4-year university. Maybe you don't have the grades to go to the 4-year university that you really want to attend. Or maybe you don't know what you want to major in. Everyone has to take basics in college. You're going to have to take an English, or your Englishes. You're going to have to take your math. You're going to have to take your science. You're going to have to take economics, government. You're going to have to take a speech class. You're going to have to take a PE class. You have to take a fine arts. And if those are classes that you need to take, it actually makes more sense to start off at a junior college because you're going to be paying half the price because you pay per hour, and each class at a junior college is worth 3 hours. I started off at a junior college. I went to Blinn Junior College in Brenham. And again, the main reason why I did that is because I was paying my own way, and it was a whole lot cheaper to do that. And then I transferred to my four-year university. I did 2 years at Blinn, and then I ended up 2 years at Sam Houston State. So 2 + 2 = 4. It's not 2 + 4 more, okay? Now, when you go to your junior college, if you are planning on attending or applying to one, you need to go onto their website and look and see how you apply. Some of them you may apply straight through their website, or some of them you may apply to Apply Texas. Now, you also need to check on the four-year university that you're thinking of transferring to, okay? When you transfer to a four-year university, they do not look back at your GPA anymore. They do not look back at your SAT scores or your class rank or anything like that. You are now a transfer student. You are now a college transfer student. So on the four-year university website, you look and see what they require for a transfer student. It's going to be a certain amount of hours, maybe 20 to 25 hours. And remember, I said each class you take is worth 3 credits or 3 hours. Unless it's a science, then you get an hour for the lab. So let's say you took 5 classes first semester at your junior college. 5 times 3 is 15. 2 semesters there, you have 30 hours, and you probably would be able to transfer. You could transfer with less hours, but if you do that, you are not a transfer student. You are still a high school student, and they look back at your grades and stuff. They're also going to require a GPA for you as well, and it may be anywhere between a 2.5 to a 3.5. I'm not for sure. Again, you would have to check on those universities' websites to see what they require for a transfer student. Now, if you look at our website, over here on the right-hand side, you will see junior colleges in Texas under the junior conference video handouts. We have an extensive list of all the junior colleges in the state of Texas. So if you want to save money and stay at home, then HCC, Lone Star, even Morton County Junior Colleges would be good choices. But if you want to have that 4-year atmosphere at a 2-year university, then you may try some other junior colleges that are on this list. For example, when I went to Blinn, Blinn has a football team. They had fraternities, they had sororities, they had all kinds of clubs and organizations that I could get involved in. They had intramurals, different things like that, okay? So you could have that 2-year atmosphere, the 4-year atmosphere at your 2-year university. Just remember, it's not where you start out, it's where you finish. All right, our next section is over the NCAA in Division I and Division II sports. Now, as you can see, I had a wardrobe change. That's because I'm trying to be so very thorough with everything that all the information that I'm giving you, that this is day 2 of my recording. All right, so we are moving on to the next thing on our agenda, like I said, just the NCAA. If you please come to the counselor page, and over here on the right hand side, your next handout is going to be the NCAA Division I worksheet, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But if you plan on being recruited or playing any Division I or Division II sport at the NCAA level, then you need to register with the NCAA.org, okay? I believe it's $95. That's how much it was a couple years ago when we registered my daughter. But it used to be called the Clearinghouse. This is where the NCAA, any coach for a Division I or Division II school can go on to this website and see that you are eligible. By eligible, they mean if you look at this worksheet, there are certain things that you have to have when you graduate. And if you're on the 4x4 or if you graduate from Texas, you would have all of the credits that you need, but certain courses do not go towards NCAA eligibility. You have to have at least a 2.3 to be recruited. Now, that doesn't mean that that's the only GPA that the school that's recruiting you wants. For example, if Stanford is recruiting you, they are going to hold you to the highest standard that they hold all of their students to, not just a 2.3. 2.3 is just the base that the NCAA says you have to be a recruited athlete. Now, if you look at the Division I worksheet, it has all of the courses that are required. 4 years of English, 3 years of math, but of course in Texas we need 4 years of math. So your extra math would go down to the to the fourth part right here, where it says additional year in English, math, or natural science. So you would put your fourth math there. For the NCAA, you need 2 sciences, but of course in Texas we need 4. So the others would come down here to your additional academic courses. For social studies, it requires 2. In Texas, we require 3, but most of you have 4, and so those extra ones would go down here. And so by the time you tally up all your credits, you would have what the NCAA needs. Now, ESL 1, 2 classes do not count towards the NCAA. So if you did take ESL English as a second language in freshman or sophomore year, those classes may not count to Division I or Division II sports. You would need to check on that. Your foreign languages, like if you took Spanish, German, French, Chinese, all of those count. I'm not sure if American Sign Language counts. You'd have to check with the NCAA on that. But when you're counting up your GPA to be recruited, they look at for the NCAA, they look at your core GPA, which is everything that I listed here. They don't look at electives. It doesn't matter that you made 100 in athletics and got a 4.0. They're not looking at that. They're only looking at your core courses. Now, if you are going to be recruited, just know that you are your best advocate. You need to go online and research the colleges that you may be interested in playing in. If you go Division I and you play a sport like football, volleyball, I believe girls basketball and men's basketball, those, and again, don't hold me to it, but I believe those all give full rides. Your other sports give you partial scholarships. Track gives you partial scholarship. Baseball, I'm not sure about softball. All of those give partial scholarships. Partial scholarships mean that they may just pay your books or tuition, or they may just give you a certain amount of money every year. Full ride or a full scholarship means they pay for everything. Your room, your board, your tuition, your books, all of that is paid for. Volleyball sometimes offers like a 3-1 or a 2-2, which means you pay for those 2 years, and then if you are still a valuable member of that team and prove yourself, then they would give you the other 2 years. Now, like I said, you have to be your own advocate if you're interested in playing sports at the college level. I know that for my daughter, we went online and we looked at all the Division I volleyball schools. Then you go to each school, you look at their rosters to see where you fit in, the position that you play. Are you the same height or, around the same height as the position you're going after, or in football, the same weight, whatever. How many freshmen do they have coming in at your position? That's going to be a big thing. If you're a setter and they have 3 setters already on the roster and only one's going to graduate, then that may not be a good spot for you. So you have to look and see. Now, when you are contacting the coaches, and you do need to send an email to the coaches to let them know you're interested, do not contact the head coach. You need to contact the recruiting coach. And when you look on their website at the sports that you're interested in, you can find out who the recruiting coach is. Also, you need to be making videos and making little snippets. like, for example, this video right now that I'm recording, this is the same way we used when we were recording my daughter's video. It's iMovie. You just go in, you get all the little highlights together, and you can put, you know, as you see on my video, you can put different categories. You can put stop, you know, and write letters and words on each of the screens and stuff. So you can make a nice video, and then you can upload it to YouTube, just like I did with this video. So you just have to make sure that if you are wanting to play college sport, that you are advocating for your own self. You can't just sit back and expect them to come to you, because there are this many people who play high school sports and this many people who play college sports. So it is a business also for the coaches. And so, you know, they may tell you one thing, and when you get there, it's a totally different thing. I do suggest that you visit any campus that you are thinking of wanting to play sports to. You need to make sure that the coach is the right fit for you. You need to make sure that all of the players you get along with well. I mean, an overnight trip sometimes is good, where you can shadow the one of the athletes and different things like that. Okay? And if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to contact your head coach or even your club coach. Also, you'll need to send your ACT or your SAT scores to your NCAA eligibility portal. To do that, when you are signing up for your SAT or your ACT, or later on if you're going to do it after you've taken the test, you just look up what the NCAA number is, which would be, once you type in NCAA on your on the College Board website or ACT, it'll pop up. I think it's 999 or maybe 000. I don't remember what exactly number it is, but you'll see it on there. And then your test scores will be loaded directly into your NCAA account. Also, you will need to upload your transcript to your NCAA portal as well, and that's usually taken care of senior year. All right, this section is over FAFSA. That is where you and your parents will apply for financial aid for college. And even though your parents may make too much money to receive any type of financial aid, it is still a good idea to fill this out. You are able to fill it out starting October 1st of your senior year, okay? And you are going to use 2 years previous income tax. One of the good things about the FAFSA portal is when you go in there and you fill everything out, you're going to click on a button and it will upload everything for you from the IRS, so you don't have to go searching for all your tax information. Both of you will have, your parents and you will have to fill this out. You will, the student will have a PIN number and or an ID number, and the parents will have it as well. Also, it's a good idea to fill this out every year that you, or if I'm talking to the parent, that your child is in college, because there may be scholarships that they want to apply for their sophomore year in college, their junior year, and some of those require FAFSA to be filled out. Okay? Just make sure that you are doing this as soon as possible, and it's going to work out just like it does for College Board or ACT. You're going to plug in any school that you are thinking of applying to, and then this is going to be sent, all this information will be sent to that school. Now make sure that you're doing .gov, not .org or .com, because there are a couple of services out there that the web address is not .gov, and when you fill all that out, at the end it's going to ask you to pay. This is not a service that you have to pay for. This is a free service, so please make sure that you use the correct web address. All right, this section is over scholarships. This is probably the most important section, so please, please, please pay attention. Make sure that you go to our website and get the very last handout under Junior Conference Video Handouts, which is Scholarship Opportunities. It'll be this page right here. Mine is yellow, yours is gonna be white, okay? All right, this is a list of all the different scholarships here. This is not just a finite list. You can find many, 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 many more places to search for scholarships. The 10th scholarship down, the 10th website down, from the 10th website down, sorry, those are all scholarships that my son and I found when we were searching. I suggest that you take at least an hour a week during the month of June to search for scholarships on your own, okay? You Google scholarships, then you Google scholarships and your ethnicity, then you Google scholarships, your ethnicity, and your gender. Then you Google scholarships, ethnicity, gender, and your major, okay? So for example, first Google scholarships, then Google scholarships for Asians, then Google scholarships for Asian females, then Google scholarships for Asian females interested in engineering, then Google scholarships for Asian females interested in chemical engineering or whatever specific engineering, okay? And then Google each one separately, okay? So for example, we are of a Czech descent. My great-great-grandmother came over from Czechoslovakia. So we Googled scholarships for Czech descent. We found those. Anything that pertains to you. We are Catholics, so I Googled scholarships for Catholics. There were several scholarships there. Anytime you go to a professional office, like a doctor, a dentist, even your bank, we bank at First Community Credit Union. There was a scholarship there. All you have to do is go up to the receptionist and ask, do you have a scholarship? The worst thing they can tell you is no, okay? But sometimes the area businesses around this, around Katy may have scholarships. There may be scholarships through your parents' work, any company they work for, any organization that you belong to. If you belong to the Band Booster Club, the Choir Booster Club, Athletic Booster Club, your parents may belong to the PTA. If you went to Alexander Elementary, there's a scholarship there. Anything you can think of. Like I'm a member of the American Counseling Association, American High School Counseling Association. There could be scholarships there. My husband's a member of the Texas High School Coaches Association. There's scholarships through there. So anything that pertains to you, Google it and see if there's a scholarship. If you're adopted, if you're a foster child, if you're a twin, if your parents are in the military or a first responder, anything, okay? Also, if you look at the bottom of this page here, my son and I went to different high schools' websites, to their counselor page, and we looked under scholarships. And if it's not specific to their high school or their district, then you're eligible to apply for it. There may be scholarships that we haven't heard of yet at Seven Lakes or haven't come across our emails yet to apply for, okay? Speaking of scholarships for Seven Lakes students, if you go up to the counselor page, so remember, we're at the Seven Lakes High School page, go to campus, come down to counselor. When you click on that, you're gonna get to the counselor page. You come over here to the word scholarships and click on that. When you click on that, you're gonna see a long list of scholarships. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, okay? Our secretaries update that regularly with all the scholarships that we find out about. I would especially check that second semester at least once a week. That is when we get a lot of scholarships coming across. But start checking it in August already, because as soon as we find out, check scholarships for Fort Bend County students, scholarships for Katy students. My son and I found a couple there. You can apply to as many as you want. I made my son apply to 30 different scholarships, and by the time we were done, it got easier and easier because you would be able to reuse some of the essays and, the letters of recommendations and things like that. Now, when you are applying for scholarships, there's going to be 3 different things that you are going to need. The first thing you're going to need will be transcript. If they ask for an official transcript, then that means you have to go to the registrar's office and ask them for an official transcript for your scholarship. They are going to, unless you have an electronic link where they can send it, they're going to give you an envelope with your transcript in it, and it's going to be sealed. Keep it sealed. That's what makes it official, because you haven't tampered with it. You can get more than one transcript at a time. For example, a lot of scholarships come due over spring break. So what we did was we requested 5 transcripts. Okay, it's going to cost you $1 or $2 a transcript. So what? The scholarship is a lot more than that. So you have 5 sealed envelopes, and then when you need them, you use them, and you won't miss your deadlines. If they ask for an unofficial transcript, then any Xerox copy of your latest transcript will do. The second thing you're going to need for your scholarships will be letters of recommendation. Just come back to your counselor. We'll have already written you one, or any teacher that's already written you one. And it will be not a problem to just change a couple of words to make it fit your scholarship. And again, don't be afraid to ask for a couple of extras. What we did with my son is we asked his counselor if we could have 5 letters of recommendation. Keep them in the sealed envelope. The scholarships do not want, the letters of recommendation carry more weight when they are in a sealed envelope, okay? Because that means you haven't seen them. Then the next thing you will need for your scholarships will be your essays. If you can reuse bits and pieces of your Common App or Applied Texas essays, go ahead and do so, because I remember my son and my daughter both being able to do that. Your scholarship essays are probably going to be anywhere between 250 to 350 words, and remember your application essays were between 6 to 650, so you can take bits and pieces. Or if the scholarship asks the same question, please reuse that essay. Nobody's going to know. Another place to search for scholarships is on your Naviance website. When you go to your Naviance account, you go to the college tab, you pull down on the college tab, and at the very bottom it says scholarships and money. That's another place where you can search for scholarships, okay? But again, you have to do the work. You can't expect these scholarships to just fall in your lap. And I can't tell you how many times it's April and our seniors are coming in and saying, Miss, I got accepted to this university, but I need scholarship money. Well, by April, it's a little bit too late. That's why back in August, you are searching, or I'm sorry, in June, you are searching for these scholarships. You have out a big, huge, one of those big calendars. You write down when the scholarships open, you write down the deadline of each scholarship, and then you're never going to miss an opportunity for a scholarship, okay? Another scholarship that I forgot to mention is the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Scholarship. They have 5, I think it's 5 categories of scholarships. The first one is for military, if your parents are in the military. The second one is for art, if you competed in any of the art contests at the rodeo. This third one is for if you showed any animals. The fourth one is, it used to be called opportunity, and I don't know what it's called now, but it's for if you have a need base, which means your parents' income fall below a certain point. But the fifth one is for grades. Okay, make sure if you have, I don't remember what the grade criteria is for that scholarship, but if you have it, you need to apply for it. Okay, just go online and see when it opens up. I believe it opens up in November, and the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Scholarship is one of the scholarships that requires you to have FAFSA filled out. So that's why you need to have FAFSA filled out as soon as possible so that you are able to apply for that Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Scholarship. Okay? All right, this final section and last costume change is over the website ecampustours.com. Now, especially now, since you're not going to be able to get out and go visit colleges during the school year, or maybe, hopefully you'll be able to do it during the summer, but if not, and even if you can, but you decide to go to a school that you just can't get to because of the distance, then a great place to go is to ecampustours.com. Now, that is a wonderful website where you can go and take virtual tours of different schools in the United States. It is so cool. You just go onto the website and you're able to type in the location, whether it's a region or a state. So I just clicked on Alabama, and then it has all of the different schools in Alabama. When you click on it, it'll give you tours of important buildings on the campus, maybe the rec area, the dorms, your cafeteria, all of these neat things. But please remember that you do get 2 days out of your senior year to go on campus tours. To do that, you have to go to the attendance office and get this green form. It's called the Excused Absent Request for a Military or College Visit. And I would do that about 2 weeks before your tour, before your visit, because you have to fill it all out, and then your assistant principal has to approve it. He has to make sure that you don't have excessive absences and that you're passing all your classes. So then after you get his approval, you take it with you on your tour, and whoever takes you around campus, that person is going to sign off right here at the bottom, and when you bring it back to school, it does not count against your exemptions. So like I said, you get 2 of those your senior year. Now, here's a little thing that you may want to use that for your senior year if you already know where you're going to go to. You may want to use that to sit down with an advisor at the school that you're going to. For example, when my son figured out that he was going to go to A&M, we signed up for a one-on-one visit with an academic advisor at A&M. And that way you can figure out what classes you're going to take, what AP credits you want to accept or not, because you do not have to accept your AP credits right away. You can accept them even when you're a sophomore or a junior in college. And sometimes you may not want to accept credits for the AP classes that you got credit for. For example, my son was a chemical engineer major at A&M. And believe it or not, it was still a GPA game at A&M because he went in as a general engineer, and then at the end of his freshman year, he had to apply to chemical engineering. You had to have a certain GPA. So he did not accept his AP Chem credit. He did not accept his calculus credit because he knew he'd be able to get those classes for an A. So he took those classes instead of taking the AP credit. So you may want to do that as well, or you may need to do that as well. And then some of his credits he still didn't accept until his junior year. So you don't have to accept those right away. So that's a question that you would need to sit down and talk to with an academic advisor. Okay? But I do suggest that you try to at least do a virtual visit to any campus that you're thinking of applying to, because you need to make sure that it's the right fit for you. All right? Okay, now I hope that this has been an informative video for you. I'm so sorry that we were unable to meet with you in person. I'm gonna miss meeting all my junior parents and getting to know you. Please don't hesitate to email us if you have any questions at all. Especially, just email anytime you need to. Our office hours right now are from 8 to 4, Monday through Friday, and we will get back with you within the day or two. Also, please, 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 like I said in the beginning, don't take my word for the stuff that I said. If you have a question, please call an admissions officer. Please check on the physics if you're not going to take it. Please check on whether they need the ACT or the SAT. Please check on all of those different things that you have questions. Don't take what I said for gospel, because things are changing. They change every year, and we may not, or I may not know about the changes. And especially now with everything that's going on, whether they take the ACT or the SAT this year, but next year they may take the SAT or they may, so you just never know. So please, please, please use this video as a guide, not as the law, okay? All right, y'all take care and be safe.